All right, guys, so let's talk about the simple productivity system that made me a millionaire because I see all these videos online about these super complicated productivity systems where you use Notion here and then you automatically zap, information from Notion to Airtables and then you zap it to a different thing. And then it's just really complicated. And it zaps into your calendar and you integrate your calendar together, and then you have to use a to-do list on top of it that you put in your phone, and you have to update the to-do list every time you update something else. It's just like really, really complicated. There's even a meme about it to basically describe how ridiculous it is. People that are, at the bottom of the bell curve that don't have super IQs use super simple productivity systems. And then people at the top of the bell curve who have really high IQs also use super simple productivity systems. And then the people in the middle are the ones who use these ridiculously complicated weirdo productivity systems, okay? And the truth is, like, a lot of them are kind of just covering the system just because it makes them a ton of money, right? So I'm going to tell you exactly the productivity system that got me all the way through getting a doctorate, okay? So it got me all the way through, part of high school, college, and getting a doctorate. And it helped me to become a millionaire. And I'm actually someone who has been diagnosed with ADHD twice, okay? So I literally have ADHD. I've been diagnosed twice, and this productivity system works incredibly well for me, and it's very simple. So let's get into it right now. Number one on the list, and this is probably the most important thing, and I'm going to try to put this to where you guys can easily see it. Number one is plan tomorrow today. Okay? So basically, plan tomorrow today. And basically, guys, what this is the night before, let's say it's Sunday night and you're planning Monday, you are going to sit down, you are going to take a flashcard just like this, and you're going to take a pencil or a pen, and you are going to plan out your next day hour by hour. And what you're going to do is you are going to leave time for relaxation and leave time for things that pop up. Because a lot of the time, things are going to pop up throughout the day that you don't expect. So you're going to actually leave time in there. So for instance, if you think, completely checking all of your messages, all your emails, all of your text messages, all of your inboxes on Instagram, Facebook, etc., is going to take you, let's say, 30 to 40 minutes, give yourself an hour because things pop up and, it might take you a little bit extra time just because things pop up, right? So plan, strategic breaks in there. That's another thing. Actually plan breaks in there, right? So plan your lunch, plan breaks, plan everything out and plan it hour by hour. And you can do this the night before. I recommend doing it the night before. You can also do it the morning of as well. But you don't want to give yourself too much, right? You don't want to think like, oh, I'm going to have the most productive day ever. Just have a reasonably productive day, right? That's what you want to plan in. And if you feel like doing more, then that's almost like extra credit, okay? So you're going to get a feeling of like, oh, this is awesome. I already completed everything that I wanted to get done today, and now I'm going to get that extra credit. But never try to plan out having the most ridiculously 10 out of 10 productive day. Plan out an 8 out of 10 productive day, and then if you end up having a 10 out of 10, if you want to do extra, that's amazing, but just don't don't put it into the time. Just do extra because you got done with everything else so fast, right? And this is something I've done for so long. I literally have done this since high school, and I'll give a shout out here. Cal Newport is the one who came up with this productivity system. I think I read it in like How to Win at College or How to Be a Straight A Student, something like that. But yeah, one of those books that Cal Newport put out, amazing author. And, I tried the productivity system, literally just using a flashcard. Like I said, you keep the flashcard in your pocket and you just put the day at the top and you just literally execute on whatever you put on the card. It's that simple. You don't know what to do? Take the card out, look at what you have next, and do that thing. It's literally just that simple, right? One other thing I'll say, I did improve upon the system slightly. You could literally just use a white flashcard. That's totally fine. But what I like to do is I like to use colored flashcards. So for my day-to-day to-do list, I'll use different colors for the flashcards. And for my master to-do list, which is things that I need to get done in the next few weeks, maybe a month at tops, I'll use a white flashcard. So my master to-do list has a white flashcard on it. My day-to-day to-do list is usually colored, and it'll be a different color for every day of the week, generally speaking. And so that's basically my productivity system. It works unbelievably well. Like I cannot emphasize how freaking well this works. You keep the flashcards in your pocket at all times or right next to you when you're working. You always keep them with you wherever you go. And yeah, it's just very simple. I'll have one pop up on the screen. You can see literally one of mine. I think this was last Thursday. This is what I did. And yeah, this is it's just super, super simple, guys. And by doing this, I get so freaking much done. And one thing I will say is at the very bottom of the card, you'll notice I have, cover for sales guy on vacation. If things pop up and I don't know exactly when to do them, but I know that they need to get done, I'll just write a little star and I'll put the thing at the bottom of the card. And then the next day, I'll see if maybe I can fit that in the next day. Right? So that's my first tip. Plan tomorrow today. Use flashcards. Yeah, it's seriously super, super effective. Okay. Second tip, timers. Have timers everywhere. I have a timer in every room of my house. I don't use my phone usually. Why? Because phones are super distracting, but I have a timer in almost every room of my house. I use kitchen timers. Very simple, very easy to use. And what do I do with the timers? Well, I time myself on doing stuff. Why? Because I have ADHD and because I like to feel like I'm racing against the clock. I get stuff done way better when I feel like I'm racing against the clock. So I'll use a timer on my computer or I'll use a timer that I have around the house. But even if I'm just doing, something like cleaning my room or something, I will usually use a timer because if I don't, I get distracted and I start doing something else and then it takes me way too long to get it done. So I love using timers. There's just something magical about them. If you think that the task is going to take you 20 minutes, you can put 20 minutes on the timer and hopefully you're able to get the task done. If you don't get it done in 20 minutes, you're probably still going to get it done a heck of a lot faster than you would have if you didn't use the timer. Okay? So I use timers all the time. They're incredibly useful. Get yourself a bunch of these. Do not use your phone because it's just going to distract you. Get actual physical timers. You could also use a timer on your computer as well if you're working on your computer, but I really just recommend getting physical timers because it's just not as distracting, okay? I also use the physical timers as my alarm clock. I literally use these as my alarm clock. So if I know I need to wake up at 8 hours, I put 8 hours and that's my alarm clock, okay? Number 3, use Google Calendar for faraway events or recurring events. And just the Google suite in general. I love using Google products. I think they're amazing. It's amazing to me that they're actually free. Just the fact that like YouTube and all these different Google products are free is incredible. Google Calendar is the product I use more than any other. Obviously, I have meetings. I've got sales calls in my Google Calendar. I've got things that happen in the future. Birthdays for my family I have in my Google Calendar. Birthdays for my girlfriend or my friends, etc. Big events, vacations, etc. All of that goes in my Google Calendar. So anything that's long-term, I plan it out in my Google Calendar. So again, just keep it super simple. Google Calendar integrates with everything else very easily. I don't want to use some kind of like physical calendar or anything like that because it doesn't integrate. I love Google Calendar, super simple. That's what I use. And then daily journal. So this is one where I'll actually take a picture of literally the daily journal that I use. I got this somewhere on the internet. It doesn't really matter, guys. It doesn't really matter that much. I originally heard of the idea of a daily journal from Sam Ovens, so I'll give him credit for that. But I just found some random daily journal on the internet, and then I wrote a couple extra things into it, mood, what I learned, and grateful. And then did I get everything done, yes or no, at the bottom. Those were things that I added onto it. And then, yeah, that's my daily journal. I literally just photocopied that a bunch of times. And that's my daily journal. This isn't, it's not colored. It's literally black and white. It's super cheap. You can photocopy it a bunch of times. And yeah, then I just literally put what I did hour for hour. And at the end, what I'll do is I'll give myself a score. So this is the part where it gets a little bit interesting because you want to basically give yourself a score for how much you got done that day, but you can very easily give yourself a score that's not accurate. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about how much you make per hour on average. So let's say you have a normal job and you make $50 per hour on average. I want you to give yourself at least $100 per hour. That is your working rate, because that's how much you could charge if you did coaching or consulting. And then give yourself bare minimum $100 per hour for the tasks that you do. Okay? So you need to value your time at the very least $100 per hour. You know, and you might be listening to this and you're just like, whoa, that's crazy. Why would I value my time at $100 per hour? Well, in the long run, it's going to be $100 per hour or more if you're successful. Now, if you're watching this and you're already successful, you probably already value your time at $1,000 an hour, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, maybe even $5,000 an hour, right? That's probably around what I value my time at. It's around like $3,000 to $5,000 an hour. And so what you can do is you give yourself a score in terms of dollars. And what you want to do is you want to think, how much value did I add to my business with this task? So if you were checking your emails, you probably didn't add very much value. So if you checked your emails for an hour, you give yourself a score of maybe 100 or something like that, or 1,000 or whatever your hourly rate is. But if you did something that's extremely valuable, let's say you recorded content, or you took a sales call, or you did something that you know is going to add a tremendous amount of value to your company and make your company a lot of money, you give yourself a higher score. So maybe you'd give yourself 5,000 for the score. Or if you're just starting off, maybe you'd give yourself $500 for the score. Okay? And then you want to just give yourself that score. And then over time, you just get to see it going up, 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 up as your time becomes more valuable for one, but you also get more efficient. And this will basically lead you to essentially, for one, doing the tasks that are more valuable and stopping, not doing the tasks that are less valuable, or at least doing them way less. And then also becoming more efficient so that you can fit more tasks in, right? So this is kind of a way of just gamifying success, right? Essentially. And so that's what I do. I give myself a score at the end of the day, which is an approximation of how much money I made at the end of the day, or how much value I did with the tasks that I did. So one example, by the way, is working out. I give myself $5,000 an hour for working out. I value working out at a ridiculously high price because I know that it's going to extend my life. I know that it's going to lead to me being more productive. And I know that it's just one of the best things you can possibly do. So even though I'm not technically making money directly from working out, I am indirectly making money from working out. And so therefore, I value it at an extremely high price. So it's like $5,000 an hour. Same thing with meditating. I find that meditating is incredibly valuable. I think that over the years, meditating will indirectly make me a ton of money. And so I value meditating at also $5,000 an hour or more. And a year from now, I might value it at $10,000 an hour, right? But this is just a really good way for you to kind of gamify and, get more done over time and value things. But with that being said, you have to be a little strict with yourself because you can easily value things at a higher price than what they're actually worth. So you have to, be strict with yourself, maybe have someone else look at it and call you on your BS, right? But yeah, super, super valuable. Talking about a journal and just saying what you learned that day, what you're grateful for. That's another really good one. Always being grateful for things is incredible. Your mood that day, what were your mood / energy was like. Did you get everything done? Yes or no? And then notes, right? Super valuable. Can't tell you how much journaling has helped. It's amazing. Then number 5, YouTube. Obviously, I teach people how to do YouTube. By the way, links in the description, the pinned comment below for some free training. You can also get on a call and talk about a YouTube strategy and how you can actually grow and make money from YouTube. But I literally just use Google Docs for YouTube, guys. I can do a few scripts that I put on the screen. I'll show you a script for the second channel. I'll put that up on the screen. And then I'll show you, it's obviously like super, super simple. Scripts for the second channel are super simple because I'm already an expert on this stuff and I just talk off the top of my head. Scripts for the first channel, on the other hand, my team makes them. And so they're much longer and more detailed. And I basically just choose what I want to talk about. So it's almost like they create a newsletter for me. I read through the newsletter and then I just pick and choose what I want to talk about, right? So that's scripts for the first channel, the channel that has over 800,000 subscribers. So a little bit different how the scripts work, but I use Google Docs for my scripts. And yeah, we set it up as a team. So it's very easy to share it with my team. I can just click share and then go team. And I believe that's Google Friends or Google Team. That's the thing that we use so that I can just share it with everyone on my team with one click. And then, it just automatically gets sent to everyone's email and they can all access it. So yeah, Google Docs, amazing tool. Number 6, for business, I use Traction methodology. So I communicate on Slack to communicate with the people in my business. I think most business owners probably use Slack. They do all the productivity stuff. So they use Asana, they use ClickUp, they use Airtables, they do all that stuff. All I do is communicate with them and they execute on that stuff. And if that involves using Asana or Airtables or ClickUp or whatever, then they do that. But I don't mess around with that. I just send them stuff on Slack and that's it. I don't want to be dealing with all those tools, right? I want to keep my life simple. And basically, you just create systems in your business so that you aren't bogged down by all the organization apps. And how I create systems is I use this book called Traction. Traction is by Gino Wickman. It's also known as the Entrepreneur Operating System. And it is an incredible book, guys. And I just realized I haven't been writing on the board. So let's go ahead and write these for the visual learners here. So we've got number 3, Google Calendar. Okay. Then we got number 4. This is Daily Journal. Daily Journal. Then we got number 5, which is Traction, essentially. Number 5 is Google Docs. Google Docs for YouTube. And then number 6, this is for business. For biz, I use Traction methodology. So Traction is a book by Gino Wickman. And it is really good when your business gets above like 5 to 10 people. Once your business gets above about 5 to 10 people, things start getting lost. They're not all on the same page. Things start not being organized. And you really need to have like a system, right? You need to have a system that runs your business. Traction is an amazing system, entrepreneur operating system. Highly recommend reading the book if you're above like 5 to 10 employees. And it helps you create systems, automations in your business. It helps you do meetings, like you do a weekly meeting where you talk about problems, you talk about the rocks that you have, which are the things that you're working on. And just keeps up with progress. Every 3 quarters, you set like a new goal for the quarter. Sorry, every quarter you set a new goal for the quarter, not every 3 quarters. And then every year, every 4 quarters, you set kind of like an overarching goal for the year. And it's just a really good way of staying organized. And I've heard it works all the way up to about 500 employees. And then you have to use a different system because Traction breaks as well at around 500 employees. But as long as you have less than 500, Traction is amazing. So that's what I use, guys, to stay organized. That's what I have used to become a millionaire. Pretty simple system. Traction is probably the most complicated one, but you don't really need that until you have like 10 employees or above. But it's really not all that complicated. It's a pretty simple system as well. And I'd say the biggest thing, guys, if you're going to take one thing away from the video, the biggest thing is just plan tomorrow today. Just write down what you're going to do either the day before or the morning of, hour by hour, and then do it. It's that simple.